Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is Patty Bennett. How are you today? We are going to have so much fun. I can't wait for you to see these amazing cards with this super fun technique. I am going to give everybody just a second to hop on to the live. This is a Facebook Live, my weekly crafting videos on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're joining me live, just give me a little hello or a heart or a thumbs up so that I know that you're here. And then we are going to be making these two cards today. Oh my gosh, wait till you see this. This is just like amazing, 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 amazing. So super cool. Hi, good morning, everyone. All righty. So I hope everybody has found me. If you see the red live button up here in the corner, then it means that you have found the live video on Facebook on June 25th. This is part of my weekly crafting series. Well, okay, it could be that. My weekly crafting series. And I go live on Facebook, and then I always put the replay so that you can catch it again on my blog and on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching on a replay, welcome. And if you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I've been getting a lot of comments that there are new viewers, and that's really exciting. Very exciting. All right, so just in case you are looking for more information about these two cards that we're going to make and the other cards that I show you, tomorrow, so if you're watching live, then tomorrow, June 26th, on my blog, pattystamps.com, will be the still photos of these, as well as the replay of this video, and 3 more cards that I'm going to show you that are brand new, okay? Just wanted to do a quick review. Today on my blog, pattystamps.com, you're going to find these cuties. Oh my gosh, aren't these so fun? Like, this is just one of my most favorite cards ever. If you watched last week on our weekly live, well, okay, it was recorded last week. We won't go into those issues. Anyway, if you watched last week's video, then you saw these backgrounds that we created with the Stampin Blends and alcohol. And I thought that this background, which was very similar to this one here on the left, just reminded me of the ocean, and I could just sort of picture these fishies going through. And then I added the cute little in-color jewels for their bubbles. And I just thought this was the perfect underwater scene. So I created that with the Seascape bundle. Again, if you're looking for the details, it's on pattystamps.com today. And I paired it on my blog with this card because I used the Sea Life die to cut out one of these backgrounds for the fish. And I thought that turned out really cool. So you can see all the details about this ombre glimmer paper that's in the background and on the coral. That's all on pattystamps.com today on June 25th. So just wanted to show you those, just a little bonus. And this was just sort of a reminder, a little recap of some of the cards that we looked at last week with the alcohol ink background technique. And I have to definitely tell you that this was a favorite. And when I created this, I wasn't sure about these colors, but turning it into a card that pairs up with this succulent die, I think this is just, that's a wow. And as far as all the comments went on my blog and on the video, I know that you all loved this. I tend to usually go for these fun, brighter colors, but then a lot of you also said that the blues and greens were your favorite. So I think it was just kind of an all-around hit for all of the different techniques that we did. So after I did the video, my friend Tammy, who lives locally, she is a demonstrator on my team. She came over, we made lots more samples, and then I showed her this that I had created. And I said, now this has an embossing folder, but it's the same alcohol ink technique. And after we did this, we went kind of crazy and we thought, well, what other embossing folders could we use? So we went a little off track and we started using embossing folders with this technique. So today we are going to make this. And if you don't recognize it, let me show you. It's the Evergreen Forest embossing folder. So when you emboss it on vellum, you get this. And then when you do the alcohol ink technique on top of the vellum, you get that. Oh my gosh, do you love this? I am in love with this. Give me a heart or a thumbs up if you think this is pretty amazing. Yes, thank you, Linda. She says, beautiful. Hi, Susan. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Stacy. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I just read Tammy's comment. So her trees, she wasn't as happy with her trees, and I'm not sure what we did differently. I'll show you what I did, and we'll make this together today. But you know, there's always a learning curve, and yeah, Tammy, your other cards were amazing. Thanks, Margene and Lori. Thanks, Kirsten. So we're going to do this one today. I'll show you that with the trees. And you know what? I think I will save the other three for the end because it might help to actually see the technique before I show you those other cards. But I will show you, just so you kind of know where we're going with this one, that this started with the pearlescent paper die cut out of the Seashells bundle die. And so this one is not vellum. You can do this with vellum, but I wanted to see if it would turn out somewhat similar with the pearlescent paper. And since I had several of these already ready to go, I just thought, let's try it. So I have done a video. I will link in the replay to the video I did showing this before. But this was embossed with the Seashell embossing folder. So this is just the plain die cut pearlescent paper, and then you emboss it. You can do this technique either on the plain one or on the embossed one. We're going to do it on the embossed one. Here's the folder. So let's see, can you see? It's really hard to see embossing folders, but just you can trust me that you put that piece in there and you emboss it and it comes out like this. And then you get these gorgeous pearlescent-y, shiny colors. So we're going to look at that and do one of these together. But I wanted to just give you kind of a roadmap of where we're headed. If you watch my videos, you know that I love to show you the project, go through the process, and kind of let you know where we're headed. That's how my brain works. And I'm sorry if you think it's a spoiler, but that's just how I like to do it. So we are going to make these two cards today. If you watched last week, you know that I said it was very helpful to protect your work surface since we are spritzing with alcohol and we are using alcohol and we're flicking ink and we're just doing all sorts of wet techniques here. So I have just a craft mat. I think this was on Amazon. I'm not positive when I got it. It's been a while, but I'm sure you can get craft mats. And then I have just a little stack of copy paper. I use the back sides of prints that I'm not going to use anymore. So we have taken a piece of the cardstock vellum that Stampin' Up sells. I have put it into the Evergreen Forest embossing folder and embossed it. So one side is a little more bumpy and raised, and the other side is a little bit less bumpy. I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but they're both raised trees. So you could do either side. I picked the side that, so like if you put it in there and you emboss it and you take it out, I'm just going to do that side. So we'll call this the front, even though they're very similar. It's just interesting how it's pretty similar on both sides. I have used several different greens for the trees of our Stampin' Blends, and then a couple of blues for the sky. If you watched last week, you know that we just scribbled on the front. We used alcohol in a spray bottle and we sprayed it. What I decided to do on this, because I didn't want the blues and the greens to blend together, I did all the green on the front. I flipped it over and I did the blue sky on the back and spritzed them independently. That was my effort to keep those colors from bleeding. So that's the plan. And, we'll see how this goes. I am going to move this out of the way just because I don't want to spray it accidentally or get ink flicked on it, because that would make me super duper sad. I have a thought here. Hang on. Let me grab. I don't know if this will help, but I'm willing to waste a piece of cardstock if it helps. Look, now you can see the embossed. Now, you probably don't want to waste a piece of cardstock while you're doing this, but I think that just so you can see the trees better while I'm working, this will help you. Alrighty. So all I did, I started, let's see, I'll tell you the colors. This is dark shaded spruce. So I am going to just color on top of some of the trees. And I'm going to try to kind of copy the one that I did because I do like how it came out. And I'm trying to kind of pick out the trees here. It is not super easy to see exactly where these trees are, but I'm doing my best. So that's dark shaded spruce. Let's go with, this is dark just jade. And I'm just filling in color. We are going to spritz this, so don't worry that this looks a little bit odd, because yes, it does. And let's do maybe this one. And then let's move to another color. Here's light just jade. So I'm kind of thinking the trees that are more in the front will be the lighter ones, and the trees towards the back might be the darker ones. It's up to you. You can color however you'd like. Then we have dark soft succulent. Let's see how that looks. Any greens would be great. You can do just really any green colors that you like. I kind of stuck with the cooler tones. You can see that these colors are all kind of cooler green colors. They're not the yellowy greens. Like, let me just show you. For instance, if I were to put olive in with this mix, do you see how that's a very different green? So I did not do that on this card. I mean, you can mix and match, but I chose to stay with the cooler colors. Let's see, what shall we do? We have a few left here. Let's try a darker one back here. And right there. And then I think I'll go with our lighter jade. Yeah, right here. Okay, so we have them colored. And if you remember our system, after we put color with Stampin' Blends onto our vellum, we take a spray mister bottle, and you can use the Stampin' Up spritzers. The reason that I didn't is because I was making so many. I've probably made, I don't know, 40 or 50 of these by now. So I needed a bigger bottle. I didn't want to keep refilling this after every couple of cards. So we're going to spray with the rubbing alcohol. And then we have one of the water painters. And there's nothing in here. I'm just dipping it into some rubbing alcohol. And just going to, what do we call this? Maybe like kind of smushing, kind of blending. I wonder if now, yeah, I think we'll do this. You can let me know if that helps. I think maybe that will help. And then we're going to go to one of the medium-ish colors. What do you think? I need to watch the comments. It's hard for me to concentrate and watch for all the comments, but I try. So there, we're just kind of blending out some of those colors, letting them kind of bleed and blend a little bit. And now, you know what I forgot? Somebody mentioned last week that I should try a straw to blow onto. Oh, I have a straw. Hang on. Let me get the water out of this straw. Okay, somebody mentioned this. This way you don't have to get your mouth down close if you want to dry it. So I'm just blowing through a straw. The idea is you want this to start to dry, not 100%. So there we go, a straw. That way you're not kind of sucking in the air and blowing out right there. Then you can take a brush or your water painter, whatever you're using. You can do a few splats. You can use I'm going to shake this over here. I don't want you all to get dizzy while I'm shaking. Okay, this is my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to squeeze over here just so it starts to come out. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap to get some sparkle in the trees. I'm going to just a little bit of larger drops like that. Then I'm going to use my markers. This is the same process that we did last week for the backgrounds, but now what we're doing is we're just sort of making a scene because the trees or make a scene. It's like scenery, right? All right, I'm just going to use some alcohol here to lift off a couple of those green splats in the sky. It just kind of erases it if you do that. I just don't want too many green splats in the sky. Now I'm going to dry a little bit more with my technical straw technique. Okay, now we're going to do the sky. And I'll just bring in the finished card in case you're just joining. This is kind of what we're going after here. So I've colored the trees with different colors and we've let them dry a little bit. Now we're going to go on the back and we're going to do the blue sky. And I have to tell you that my first idea was just do balmy blue. And then I thought, you know, this is so pretty. The Bermuda Bay was so beautiful on the other cards we made that I added a little. And when I did, I was a little bit scared. And I'll show you what I did, but it turned out beautiful. Okay, so if you missed the beginning, I'll just, while I'm coloring, let you know that the reason that I'm doing the sky on the back is because I didn't want the blue and the green to mix. And this way, I'm just going to get, so see, I did that Bermuda Bay and I thought, uh-oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but it turned out gorgeous. So I didn't want the blue sky and the green trees to mix. And that's why I went ahead and did them green on one side, blue on the other. When you're blowing like this, when you're adding the air, you can kind of direct the color if you want to. It's really cool. All right, then what we're going to do is just a couple of splats to give the sky some dots. So can you see that? How the sky now has kind of some dots and some different colors happening. Just gonna soften out just a little tiny bit there. Okay, then when you turn it back over, look Look at that. Isn't that just so pretty? I think this just turns out amazing. So just let that dry and mount it to your cardstock. So it is mounted onto white cardstock, so the Stampin' Up! Basic white, before I layered it onto that green shaded spruce layer, because if you just put it on top of green, it's going to be really, really dark. So it's layered onto the white and then onto the green and then onto the white folded card. And then I wanted this to be a Christmas card, so I just stamped the greeting and stamped this little sprig of berries to give it a pop of the color, and that's it, and it's done. So that's how you do it. Now, if you did not watch last week and you're asking, okay, what's the best way to attach it? We did both the Seal Plus and we did these adhesive sheets where you can peel off. Let me see, I don't know which side. There we go. You can peel this off and it's a sheet of stickiness. And so you would cut it to the 4 by 5 1/4 and fill up the back of this with the adhesive sheet and use that to stick it right down onto the white. So that is that technique. Now that you have seen how to do this, let me show you the other cards, because I just didn't want you to be confused and think, wait, how did she do this? What is that? So Tammy and I tried the dandelion folder. When you emboss it with vellum, you get this, and here's my card. So I did a little bit similar technique to the trees, where I did not want my dandelion colors, and you know what? That really isn't even the color of dandelions. That's funny, isn't it? Well, I picked the colors I wanted. It's my artistic expression. So I did those on the front. I flipped it over and I did this blue-green on the back. And I think we did Pool Party, or I did, excuse me, Pool Party and Balmy Blue. That's how I got kind of this gradient. Is it Coastal Cabana? Let me see here. Hang on. What did I do? This one's Bermuda Bay and Pool Party. That's what I did. So that I got kind of blue down at the bottom and a blue-green at the top. And then when it was all dry, I took my marker, and I believe I used the skinny end, and I drew on top of the stems and the leaves. So do you see that? These stems and leaves, because I wanted them pretty defined. I did not want them to bleed and be part of that background. What do you think? Do you like it? Oh, Marlene says it's gorgeous. Thank you. Oh, Kirsten. Oh, Kirsten says, now I want that folder. Yeah, I just went through all my embossing folders and we just tried 5 different ones and thought, what the heck, right? You don't know till you try. But I thought this was really a fun way to use this folder. So I think once you see the technique on this one, you understand better how this was done. Thank you. Thank you. Babs says that the colors are gorgeous. Thank you. I really loved this. I thought this turned out really pretty. Thank you. Thanks, Fran. Thank you. So let's look at 2 more and then we'll do the seashells. So this one, actually, I don't think I have a piece of this vellum embossed. So you'll have to just use your imagination that you know how this was. But I embossed in vellum, and same idea where I colored the flowers and the leaves on the front, turned it over and did that blue background on the back. And it's really very artistic looking, very, Tammy's actually, the way she did it, the colors she did, I called it Van Gogh because it reminds me of the Van Gogh exhibit that's in San Francisco right now. And by the way, speaking of that, so tomorrow when you go to pattystamps.com to see these cards on my blog on June 26th, I am linking to Tammy's blog post. She has her version of all of these cards ready to go for tomorrow as well. And I want you to see the difference in colors that she used and that I used. And it was just really interesting to see how different they came out. I just gravitate more towards some colors and she gravitates towards others. And it was fantastic to see how they all turned out. So hers, I want you to tell me tomorrow if you think hers is very Van Gogh, because I think her version of that is totally Van Gogh. All right, now let's look at the third one with this idea. The Magnolia embossing folder just has two big flowers. And I kind of did an oopsie because when we embossed this, let's see, let me see if you can see. It's hard to see. This right here is a leaf, and this is a leaf. Oh, and this is a leaf. But I didn't know that. After we embossed it, here was the embossed piece. It didn't come out looking much like a leaf. And so I colored it as if it was a big flower. And, you know, there's no right and wrong. This is just art, right? You can do whatever you want to do. But anyway, here's my version. So you can see this flower doesn't really have a leaf, and that's okay. It's fine. And this one, the leaf is back here and back here. And since they're yellow and orange, I just die cut leaves and I put them on top so that it would look more like the flower has leaves. So when I tilt it, you can see here, you can see the embossed area. And in person, this is really, really striking. It's very hard to photograph this because when you just look straight down, it looks like blobs of color. But see, when I tilt it, you can see that, right? So this is the Magnolia folder, and I love how this turned out. Same idea, flowers colored on the front. I turned it over and I did all that blue on the back because I didn't want them to bleed together. I wanted those colors to stay separate. But same idea, coloring with your Stampin' Blends, spritz it with the alcohol, dribble the alcohol on it, dribble the Winkostella on it. It's the same exact technique. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Linda, Elizabeth, Sherry, Lynn, Lori. Thank you, everybody. Mindy, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So that is that technique with vellum, embossed with an embossing folder, and then colored and spritzing and the whole 9 yards. So that was 4 different ideas with vellum and embossing folders. Now, before I move on to the seashell one, do you have questions about this? I'd like to pause and answer questions so that we don't get sidetracked and miss something and have to come back and all that. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I'm glad you like this. So glad you like this. I absolutely am in love with this. I think, took it to a whole new level. The minute we did this, Tammy says, this has to be your live for next week. And I said, okay. I love it when it's all figured out. All right, so we're going to go back to this now. And I'm just going to look up in the catalog. I don't even know what page the seaside is in. Seascape. No, it's not seascape. It's shells, seashells. Somebody help me out. Where are the seashells? It must be called something different. Hang on. Hold, please. Hold, please. I want to show it to you in the catalog. Here it is. Page 27. Did I even tell you what happened to my upstairs catalog? I was working up here doing all these things, and I tipped over my entire cup of water, and my catalog is all lumpy, bumpy, and oh man, so sad. Anyway, that's not a big deal. So here we go. Page 27. This is the Friends Are Like Seashells bundle, and it is one of these amazing kind of a hybrid-ish bundles where you have the stamp set, you have the dies, and you have an embossing folder, and they all work together. Now, again, I'm going to link, it might be above, it might be below, depends where you're watching. I'm going to link to the video I did with a recap of all of this so that you can see everything that, hang on, I also have, here we go, no. Well, sorry, I have something somewhere else. It's lost. I'm sorry. Never mind me. But here are the dies. So this is what I used to cut out the pearlescent paper. When you do that, you get this. Then, like I showed in the beginning, you can use the embossing folder, put this inside. It'll line up. You'll just kind of massage it around. You'll see where all those little pieces line up perfectly. You put it through the embossing folder and you get that. And it's just gorgeous in this pearlescent paper. It's so pretty. So that is what we are going to use to create this piece right here. Can you even believe how gorgeous this is? Oh my gosh, so pretty. And then for my finished card, I layered this one just on the soft succulent shimmer vellum. Can you see that shimmer in the background? Then for this one, I decided to use one of my alcohol ink background pieces and layer it. What? Doesn't that look like the ocean back there? How pretty is that? And then what you can also do, and I'm going to do that with my next card, is you can cut these apart and you can kind of rearrange this scene. So you could have 5 separate seashells, you could have pieces of seaweed, and you can make an entirely different arrangement. You don't have to keep it in this format. But anyway, that's just what I did with these. So let's make one. Set this aside so I don't spritz it accidentally. And the colors I used were Dark and Light Misty Moonlight, Calypso Coral, and the Shaded Spruce. And then I also used the Bermuda Bay. And for the most part, for this technique, you get more kind of bang for your buck with the color when you use the dark version of the blends. But I did want to have a little bit of blending of the Misty Moonlight, light and dark. So I've got those. But for the other ones, these are all dark. So again, Bermuda Bay, Shaded Spruce, Calypso Coral, and Misty Moonlight. So those are our colors. I'm just going to start with the small seashells and my Calypso Coral. I like coloring onto the embossed piece because, I don't know if it shows much, but it does a little bit. The color will kind of sink into all those little crevices more than if you were just coloring straight onto the flat piece and then embossing it. But either way will work. Let's do Bermuda Bay. And I do think this would be pretty if you just sort of stuck with the tan colors as well. You can do just, you know, a little more of the natural colors that a seashell probably would be, because I know really most seashells are not these colors. But again, this is my piece of art and this is what I chose to do. And anything is fine when you're crafting and you're creating. It's your thing. You can do whatever you'd like. I think I'm going to also grab a lighter green so that we have a couple of green colors happening here. That was my dark shaded spruce. I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use just jade. Let's put some jade in there. Give it just slightly different color. By all means, if you wanted to color more carefully, you completely can. This is how I did it. Just quick, simple, get the color on there. So there's the colors. Let me move this so you can see it a little better. So there are my colors, and I am going to do the same system. So I'm spritzing with the rubbing alcohol just to get it wet. And then I am going to use my little jar, my little bowl, sorry, of alcohol and start just tapping just a little bit. I don't need to do a lot. Just sort of making those colors move around a little. It does not react as much on this pearlescent paper as it does on the vellum, but I think that the end result of this being shiny and pearlescent-y, it is really worth it. Oh my goodness, somebody is commenting from Sydney, Australia that it's 4:30 in the morning. Welcome, welcome. All right, my technical straw there. And then I'm going to do some splats with the alcohol. And our Wink of Stella, shaking it up, give it a squeeze, get the Wink of Stella kind of flowing, give a few little shakes to get some dots, get some little sprinkles. And then my favorite part, and this is, I really just think this is the best part of this whole technique, is adding your little dots. I'm trying just to go where I did the shaded spruce and moonlight, misty moonlight. I just think this just makes it completely amazing. I love this part of it. Every time Tammy and I did this, we're like, oh! There we have it. Put it on a clean one so you can see. Isn't that pearlescent paper just fantastic? The way that it makes your final product just be so shimmery and pearlescent-y. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. So then it won't take long to dry. There's one of the dry ones. And like I said, I think I'm going to layer it onto this beautiful piece of alcohol ink background paper that I made last week. Maybe I'll cut it up. Maybe I'll cut this one up and make a different scene. And that, my friends, is how you do the alcohol ink technique on vellum or the pearlescent paper. Do you love it? I love it. I think it's so cool. So there we have the cards from today. We used the Evergreen Forest embossing folder. We used the Dandelion embossing folder. We used the Bloom embossing folder. And the Seashell embossing folder. And Magnolia. So those were all the embossing folders today. And our Stampin Blends and our alcohol. And oh my goodness. It is as easy as I make it look, Betty. She said, I hope it's as easy as you make it look. Let me tell you something. When I did this last week, there were a lot of comments saying, oh my gosh, this is easy. Oh, I love this. Oh, it was not hard. Oh, I'm so glad you showed this. Oh, and everybody really seemed to love it. And the people that tried it agreed that it was not difficult. So I hope that you'll give it a try. Hope you've had fun watching today. If you have friends that you think might like this crafting technique, you can share this video or you can tag them. You can let them know that I go live on Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific time and I do a live crafting video with you. If you're looking for the products to purchase, if you're looking for the samples, more information, check my blog tomorrow, pattystamps.com on June 26th, and you'll find all of the info. And then again, if you were looking for these cutie pies, they're on my blog today. Same background technique, and then the technique on the die cut here with the alcohol ink. Oh, I just think this is so much fun. So pretty. I hope that you've enjoyed it. You can give me a heart or a thumbs up because that lets me know that you enjoy these weekly videos. Thank you, everyone. Oh, good. Cindy says she's doing this next week at her club. Oh, I hope they love it. Oh, somebody was asking about the alcohol. So this is what I showed last week. I got the 91%. If you can get 90 or higher, you're going to have better results. The difference is when you get the 70 or the 50 or the 60, it's just more water. It's less alcohol and more water. And the more water you have, the less it's going to react and give you all these pretty kind of smushy, flowy, speckly things. So this was just at Target here in the US, 91%. And if you can find higher, that's better. But 91 is what I used for everything, and it works well. I'm sorry I missed that question. It must have been somewhere back here, but thank you, Susan, for answering. I appreciate that. All right. So any questions on this? Let me know. I'll hang out for a minute. Be happy to answer any of your questions. I hope you love this. I think this is just too much fun. I just think, I don't know. I think that you can just have endless possibilities. Let me know if you try this, what other embossing folders you try. I'd love to know what turns out well for you. Okay, I don't see any other questions coming through. But, oh, good. Karen's going to try it Saturday. Awesome, Karen. You're so cute, Susan. Yes, I said your name. Thank you so much for answering the question. I appreciate you. Oh, Mardine, you're welcome. I am glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Cheryl. Oh, Betty, you're so kind. Thank you. She says, I'm a wonderful teacher. You know, I just try really hard to explain it the way that I would want to hear it. So that's my MO. Like I show you the project, I show you the supplies, we walk through it, and then I answer questions. And that's just how my brain works. So, oh, Tammy says she tried the brick and the painted texture. Yes, that was awesome. She shared the painted texture one with me. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks for letting us know, Tammy. Thank you, Karen. Cheryl, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for your encouragement and your kind words. And I will see you all on my blog, on my social media channels, next week here on Facebook Live. Deanna, good question. She's asking if we could just use Stampin' Write markers. Those are water-based, so it's not going to do what these do with the alcohol. I mean, you can try it. It's just not going to react the same way. I'm not saying like, no, you absolutely can't do it. You can try it, but it's not going to react like the alcohol markers react with the rubbing alcohol. Now, what you can do, so Deanna, let me clarify. I've done lots of videos where it is a watercolor background technique where we use water-based inks, either the refills or the Stampin' Write markers, and we use water. So you could get a similar effect with the watercolor paper, water-based markers and water. But that would be different than this, than using the alcohol-based markers, a non-porous paper, and the alcohol. So two different approaches, similar results. So I thank you. I hope that helped. I think that would be what you're asking. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, again. I so appreciate you joining me and your kind comments and your hearts and your encouragement. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.